Hello there, how are you doing? Dichaba here. I hope you're doing great. I'm doing great myself. So, in this lesson, we're going to be looking at the different names or at the names of the different parts of the keyboard, right? And it's very important that we look into these names so that you can be able to communicate with other musicians, other instrumentalists, keyboardists, and also to find information online and elsewhere when you're looking for it. So you don't want to find yourself stuck simply because you didn't know what stuff is called, right? So let's dive right into it, right? So of course the first part we're gonna look at is this right here, the keys, right? The keyboard. This is the main thing right here, and this is where the magic happens, right? And so the keyboard is the black and white buttons, and depending on the keyboard you have, or if you're using a piano, well, it doesn't even matter. Even on a piano, you have different number of keys. You may have 66 keys, 88, and so forth, number of keys, right? But I think this is the smallest it can get, and the most useful, right? And one of the main important things about a piano, the thing that sets it apart, is this very black and white buttons, because you see these black buttons, they're called sharps or flats, right? And we'll get into the details of what that means in other lessons. But the thing about it is, for example, even on a guitar, a saxophone, or other instruments, you have these buttons, but you can't see them, you can't visualize them, right? But here you can see them, you can clearly see them. So it makes for the teaching of music and understanding of music quite simple, and easier than on these other instruments that we spoke about, right? So that's that part. So one of the most important things, another important thing about the keyboard is the idea of patterns, right? So music's about patterns and you recognizing them as a musician, right? Now, for example, if you look at these buttons from here to here, they and from here to there, from here to there, from here to there, you can see that there's a recurring pattern, right? There's a recurring pattern: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? So this pattern, you see, these sections are divided into 8 buttons, right? It's an 8-button section, the white ones, 8-button section. So 8-button section, 8-button section, 8-button section, 8-button section, 8-button section, right? And here's a pattern, the main pattern I want you to notice. So if you look here, so we have this button here, it's called middle C, right? And then we also have this button here. This button and this button, if you look closely, they look the same, right? And them looking the same like this, or they look the same, but they don't sound the same, right? So if you look here, like within this space, if you look here, there's this pair of black buttons, and then over there there's this group of 3, and then if you look here, there's this pair, and then there's that group of 3, and if you look there, there's that pair, and there's that group of 3. And if we come back here and then we go to the left, there's that pair and group of 3, and then coming over there, there's that pair and groups of 3, right? So you need to be able to start visualizing these things so that you can know which section you're playing at. So these groups of 8s that we have here, they're called octaves. You know, oct for 8, pentagon, hexagon, you know, so oct for 8. So they're called octaves. Here the keyboard sounds a certain way, has a certain register. Here it sounds a certain way. There it sounds, this side is the basses, baritone, and so forth, right? So you gotta experiment with those things and know what that means, right? So this will be part 1 of this series of naming the different guitar, not guitar, I love guitar so much, the different piano parts. And then we're going to get into part 2, where we look into the rest of these things, and then to get you going. So happy learning. I'll see you in the next lesson.